Hello everyone and welcome back to the How to Be a Handmade Boss podcast. So today we are talking about home hubs. So you might have kind of heard me drop this term into lives, into previous podcasts, and you might be wondering, okay, Steph, what is a home hub and how do I find mine? How do I find the place where I should be? So home hub is a term that I kind of coined, and it purely talks about social media. A lot of people, when I say social media marketing, like advertise yourself on social media, a lot of people kind of go, ugh, and almost kind of recoil a little bit at the idea of having to do social media, what to post on social media, and just in general, the overwhelmingness of it all. And a lot of people will kind of say, well, Steph, I really want a business without social media. There's a lot of like negativity on there. There's a lot of this on there. There's a lot of that on there. And while I agree to some extent, it's almost like saying, I'm not going to go to Tesco's and do my shop because sometimes I hear conversations in there that I don't like, or I go in there and they've sold out of my stuff. Like it kind of depends on what aisles you go down. It depends on what you pay attention to, and it depends what you are there to buy, what you are there for. So social media is very, very wide in the different types of people that it has, right? You have people who are the loveliest people on the planet, who are encouraging, who support small business owners, who help others, and who are generally decent human beings when they're behind a keyboard. However, you get the other side where you have people who are mean. You have people who don't really care what they say or what it does. And, you know, it's kind of like when I hear people who say, I don't want to go on social media, it's so toxic, it's so this. Something that I do is, and this is just like a massive preface for talking about home hubs and social media, by the way. So don't think like, oh, she's off on a tangent again. This is actually extremely relevant. So what I do is that I hardly follow anybody, and I mute every single post that I see that's either not relevant to me, I don't really care about, or that, you know, provokes a reaction in some kind of way. Even if it's from people that I know and love, I will either mute them, I will either block them, or I will just say, I want to see less of this and kind of make the algorithm work for me, right? So now I've done this to the extent now where everything on my feed on all social media platforms are parrot videos, dog videos, and just funny people doing funny things. And that's pretty much what my feed is. I don't have any competitors on there. I don't have anyone that drains my energy on there. So it's kind of like, it's what you want the algorithm to do for you. So that's the first thing. The second thing does really talk about, it really boils down to you and how you react to things. Yes, of course, there are going to be people putting, you know, things and statements. And, you know, I do feel like X and Threads are a breeding ground for this, where people will just put like a one-liner designed to get a reaction out of you, designed to kind of poke you and kind of go, hey, what do you think of this? And the reason why they do it, to get a rise out of you, to get a comment out of you. And quite honestly, 9 times out of 10, I'll just block those accounts, or I'll just mute them. Or like I said, I just do not engage. And a lot of social media is really how you react to things. And I feel like that's a very kind of underutilized view of it. I don't engage with the news. I don't engage with, you know, accounts that are designed to get you, like I said, to poke you and kind of get a rise out of you. I don't engage with anybody who are really bro marketer. I just don't engage with anything that I think, ugh, this again. And I think it's really important to kind of pay attention to what you're vibing with when it comes to social media. So that's kind of my big kind of spiel for those who are like, oh, social media, I don't want to get involved. I do understand, but consider all of that I've just mentioned before writing it off. If after that you're still like, you know what, I don't know, I don't feel like it's for me, I don't really vibe with it, then fine, you do you. Business is all down to you at the end of the day. But what I don't want you to do is to do something that's going to be detrimental to your business when really it's just down to 1 or 2 reasons that we can easily get over, right? And if one of your reasons is because you are extremely overwhelmed and you're like, I have no idea, you know, what to even do. There are so many platforms. What do I do? Where do I go? Where do I post? Whatever. Then this is the episode for you, because we're going to be talking about finding your home hub. Now, your home hub is the place where you go to nurture your audience outside of your store. So as we know, the main reason for social media, and by the way, guys, I'm going to be real with you. Every business needs this. Every single business needs a place outside of where they sell to keep up to date with people, to nurture people, to build that know, like, and trust. Every single business needs this. And if you don't have it, you're missing a trick. You know, when you see people who are like, I made 30K from my Instagram, or I put a post out and got 2 sales this morning, like that is the power of building that know, like, and trust and that nurture factor. You are missing a massive trick, because if you listen to episode 20, which is titled WTF is going on with handmade businesses right now, why have sales dropped, then you know that since 2020, this is the biggest thing that has changed. And that is, there are so many businesses that are copycats. You know, they sell people selling tumblers or selling water bottles, and therefore they're like, I'm going to do that too. And if they can make money, I can make money too. And then someone else sees that person and then they start copying that. And it just becomes this sea of mediocrity where everyone is selling the same thing. Everyone is selling print on demand mugs. Everyone's selling jewelry. Everyone's selling t-shirts. Everyone's selling, you know, whatever. And this is the biggest deciding factor, is how much people know you, how much people like you, and how much people trust you, and also how much you nurture them outside of your platform as well. So what does this mean? This means that you're not constantly sell. You're not like, buy this thing, check out this new item in my Etsy shop, or I've just started a sale. All of these things make people feel quite kind of used. And this is where, again, deepening that connection and doing that nurture thing within your business is really important. So your home hub is basically your one place where you do that. Now, your home hub can be social media, or it can be an email list, or any other place that you like to use, that you use in your personal life, that you really enjoy using, and that you know how to use. It is that one place where you go to basically deepen that connection with your target audience. It is the place where you show off your features, your benefits, your USP, what makes your brand great, more behind the scenes with you. It's really that place where if they buy from you or not, you're not kind of going, well, you're not buying from me, so see you later. I don't want to be involved with you. When you think about it, if you don't have a home hub, if you don't have a place to bring people to really kind of get to know them better and connect with them and be social, then that's almost what you're kind of saying. You're kind of saying, I don't really care about you if you're not buying from me right now. And, you know, I don't know you. I don't want to know you. I'm out. I'm done. So this is where a home hub in this day and age is really important. Now go back 3, 4, 5 years ago, and maybe this wouldn't have been such an important thing to do, right? So that is what a home hub is. And I urge you to just choose one. Now, I know there's like 60,000 different social media platforms and new things that you should be on, but I really urge you to choose one of them. And yes, I know that probably goes against the advice of all the other social media gurus, and I don't care because I know this works. Okay. So a home hub is that one place that, like I said, you like to use, you use in your personal life anyway, you know roughly how to use. And the fourth thing here is that your target audience is on. So going off of that, then I have gone onto Sprout Social, which is one of my favorite places to get social media insights and data and analytics. I think it's actually a social media scheduling tool, but they dig real deep in the analytics of all the social media platforms. So I thought I would just give you a snapshot of this, because it doesn't matter if you're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. If you're just choosing one of them, which I urge all handmade business owners to do, you choose one and you master that one first before moving on to something else. Okay. Now, doing this means that you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting your energy, and you're not getting burnt out and or posting crappy content because you're so tired you just post the same thing to 4 different platforms, which, let's be honest, never actually works, does it? So just to look at a snapshot of this, if you are someone who is posting on TikTok versus Facebook, they are 2 completely different target audiences. In the same way how different business owners have different people they're trying to target, different social media platforms has that as well. So if you are using a social media platform that your target audience doesn't use, isn't on and doesn't really check on a regular basis, then you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because you know that your people are not on there. Okay, so just to kind of like demonstrate this is what is the most used social media by age. So if you are aiming for the 18 to 29 age bracket, the number one is Snapchat, the second is TikTok, and the third is Instagram. So those are the top three choices of people who are 18 to 29 years. If you're trying to target people who are 30 to 39 years, the top two is LinkedIn and X, formerly Twitter, and Snapchat is second and Instagram is third. Okay, now I fall into that bracket and I don't use LinkedIn, I don't use X, I don't use Snapchat, but I do use Instagram. So if that gives you some idea of, we're not saying to be on all of these platforms, but certainly like have these on your radar and go and dig deeper into the target demographic for each of these. Okay. If you're aiming for people who are 40 to 49 years, Sprout Social says LinkedIn's number one, Facebook's number two, and X, formerly Twitter, is number three. And 50 to 59 years, interestingly, Facebook is number one, LinkedIn is number two, and Pinterest is number three. So that's a really good broad kind of way of demonstrating what different age groups are using. Now, you can actually go even deeper with that. If you just Google, so let's say, for example, you saw on there that Instagram was the top one, or the top second or third or whatever. And again, I'm not saying for you guys to pick all three or the top one. I'm saying for you to pick the one that houses your target audience the most and also you like to use. Okay. So if Snapchat isn't your thing, if X isn't your thing, if TikTok isn't your thing, then you don't have to use it. So let's say, for example, you are like, right, I know Instagram is definitely my thing. If you just Google Instagram target demographics, you'll see the Sprout Social link and just have a little research. So for example, I use Instagram the most. Now, at this point, I have like 3 or 4 home hubs because I mastered one, then moved on, mastered a second, then moved on. And at this point now, I have Instagram that I use every day. I have my Facebook group, which I use every day. My Facebook page, I don't really bother with, let's be honest. And email and the podcast and YouTube. So I actually have 5 really. But the first one was the Facebook group. And that was the first one that I found that way back in 2019, when I first started Handmade Bosses, that was like the place where I really wanted to go. That was a place that I used every day anyway. I knew how to use it. I knew I could reach my people, that my target audience were on. So fast forward to now, and I know that Instagram is far more my bag. But let's say, for example, that you're thinking, Instagram is my thing. By doing this Google search, I know from Sprout Social that the number of monthly active users are 2 billion. Nice. And I also know that the largest age group is 18 to 24, and that's 13%. And I do know as well here that the gender distribution, now this kind of irks me a little bit because it doesn't really give you any data on people who identify as or gender neutral or no other genders is literally what it says. So I'm kind of like, yeah, that excludes a lot of different people. So this irks me a little bit because it's kind of excluding people who are non-binary, identifies as a different gender. It literally says here no data on other genders. So if that's something that you really want to hone in on, then I'd say probably go to somewhere else rather than Sprout Social or anything like that, maybe Facebook directly. But they say it's 48.2% female and 51.8% male. And the time spent per day is 33.1 minutes. So that's just an example of, okay, this is the information that you can use to gauge whether this will be your home hub or not. And this is basically how we go about finding ours. Now, don't forget, it has to be a platform that you enjoy using, you know how to use, you use in your everyday life anyway, and it houses your target audience. If any one of those is a no, you move on. Okay, it's not worth you trying to beat yourself up for using a certain social media platform if you just don't know how to use it or you just don't care. Now, just in case you weren't convinced enough, here is a few reasons why you should choose your home hub and roll with it. So number one, staying relevant and keeping up with trends is so much easier when you just have one platform and you're not having to look at this, at this, at this. You just have one place that you're looking at and that is it. Things just feel a lot easier. The second thing is people actually use social media now for a kind of customer service place to go. I must say, I do this a lot where now I never call people if I have an issue with an order. I never email. I very rarely live chat. And 9 times out of 10, I'll go to Facebook chat, WhatsApp, or just go to Instagram. So actually monitoring one platform for customer service messages, DMs, whatever, is so much easier when you just have the one. The third thing is that brand loyalty is so much easier when you're not spreading your people thinly across lots of different platforms. And let's be honest, is if you have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever, you're basically just spreading the same pool of people across. Very rarely do you have people who are only on one platform. So you might as well just keep everything easy, everyone together, everything simple, and just keep it there. And a little side note on keeping things simple, this is another thing, is that when people kind of go, oh, you know, where can I keep up to date with you? Or where are you posting this? Where are you going live? Where are you putting your polls? Where are you putting your stories? Where are you putting your behind the scenes? Blah, 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 blah. It's so much easier when you're like, oh, I'm just on Instagram, or I'm just on Facebook, or I'm just on this, rather than being like, oh, well, I'm on Instagram at this handle, I'm on Facebook on this. Like, nobody really wants that much detail from you. All they want is the one place to go. Now, also, there is something to be said about having one place to respond to problems if and when they arise. Now, we all know that sometimes problems happen. Now, that can be posting a, bad typo, which is something I did recently on a post. It can be something where a broken link is there. It can be something where there's a post blowing up for the wrong reason, trolls. Keeping your reputation, I'm doing air quotes here, is a lot easier when you have one place to kind of monitor, to look at, and to make sure everything is hunky-dory. Now, also doing SEO, which you have to still do on social media platforms, is a hell of a lot easier when you've just got the one to think about. It's the one algorithm. It's the one thing to learn. It's the 1 or 2 places you have to do SEO on that one platform. It just makes everything super easy. And the last point here is monitoring the competition is easier, which if this is something that you do, it means you're not having to go to lots of different platforms. Monitoring the competition is so much easier on one home hub than lots of different places. So guys, I've made my case for the home hub. I would love to hear from you. Tell me what your home hub is. I would love to hear from you any thoughts or anything on this episode or any ideas for upcoming ones, because I'm basically, doing a whole bunch of podcasts. I'm bulk doing these. So I would love to hear from you if you guys have any ideas of what to do. And also a favor, if you will, if you could please leave me a review on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that would be amazing. And basically it just helps more people find this podcast. Don't forget, there's room at the top for all of us to win. So I would love for you if you could just do that for me if you found value from these episodes. But for now, guys, I will catch you all in the next one. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to How to Be a Handmade Boss. And if you're eager to boost your Etsy sales within just 7 days, then be sure to join my most popular free training at handmadebosses.com/conversion. You can also find the link in the show notes as well. Keep an eye out for our next episode where we'll be continuing our journey towards handmade business success together. And until then, keep crafting and stay inspired, because the world really does need those special creations that only you can make.